Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhavignanti ye bhurida janaha. Thy words of immortality, praised by sages, they destroy sin. They are filled with divine glories, and they destroy the miseries of life. Those, O Lord, who spread thy words are the real benefactors of it. Let us sit quietly and try to connect with our deepest self for a while. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are on page 81. The Master and the Disciple. The second para, first line of the second para. This was M's first argument with the Master, and happily his last. Well, there was a book, The Argumentative Indian. You want to listen to arguments? Go to India. You'll have the vast spectrum of, there's no discussion, there's arguments. So, this is the first argument with the Master, and it's right. And thank God, happily it's his last. Master, you were talking of worshipping the clay image. Even if the image is made of clay, there is need for that sort of worship. Now, these are so profound words. He's saying you were talking about worshipping the clay. You are trying to make a case for that people should be told that this, what you're worshipping, is not God, but it is a clay image. And Sri Ramakrishna had said, had rebuked him. Why clay image? It's an image of the spirit, image of consciousness. Now, this innocuous statement gives us the idea that there is no such thing as material substance. The matter that we see is unreal. And Sri Ramakrishna had rebuked him. Why clay? It's an image of spirit, image of consciousness. So what about this matter that we see around? Well, here he is answering this question. So for Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna is perceiving reality not like we do, full of matter, material substances, or even something called a mind substance. He doesn't see all this thing. He's seeing everything as the spirit. So he says, even if the image is made of clay, now this is the loaded word, if. Everything is spirit. And suppose you bring Sri Ramakrishna is countering his own premise, his own argument. He is now again the argumentative. Even if the image is made of clay, there is a need for that sort of worship. Here he brings in the validity of also image worship. we don't need to dismiss it. Okay, everything is consciousness, so I'm going to worship that consciousness. Where? You need to fix your mind on some place, some symbol. And then he says, God himself has provided different forms of worship. Now, this is again very important. God himself has provided, and we human beings have been quarreling over this. This is my image and this is my symbol. Let's decide it which is better by a good fight. And not only amongst individuals, societies and races and civilizations have fought for their religious ideas, not knowing that God himself has provided all these different forms of worship. Saying, he who is the Lord of the universe has arranged all these forms. Again, he's emphasizing this with it. He is emphasizing this as he has arranged all these forms. And then he says, to suit different men in different stages of knowledge. This is what it is. Swami Vivekananda, in one of his lectures, Maya and the Evolution of the Conception of God, he speaks about the initial conceptions of God were crude because human society was not sophisticated enough. In the sense, not that we are sophisticated, but our ideas of morality and our ideas of the universe synchronize with the ideas of the reality of God. And as we keep on developing higher moral and ethical ideas and higher ideas of the universe, our conceptions of God must and will change. This is the saying, to suit different men in different stages of knowledge. This is the evolution of the conception of God. You cannot hold on to an idea, a religious idea, that has long been surpassed by people's intellectuality or life or various other things. You are still clinging on to this. So, he's saying, then Swamiji says, does God really evolve? No, God is the reality, but our ideas of him or her evolve. And he says, people in the future, they will look back and say, they will laugh at our ideas of God. Saying how crude they were, how unsophisticated. So this is an important statement Sri Ramakrishna has made, that even if we take it that there is a clay image and you're looking up it at the clay image, then it is provided by God for different people at different stages of mental evolution. So Swamiji also said, it's good to be born in a church, but bad to die there. This is what he says. So, Swamiji says, from the lowest, you can say, fetishism to the highest absolutism are so many stages of the evolution of the conception of God. So, this is extremely important, and we have been quarreling and fighting about our conceptions of God, which have largely remained static. That's because, you know why? Because we have not worshipped that old idea of God, truly worshipped. We have just paid lip service. If we would have truly worshipped that old conception of God, we would have gradually evolved higher conceptions of that. We see it in many religions. They start with some crude idea and they slowly evolve higher and higher ideas. So this is how Swamiji is saying. In India, what happened was they left all those old steps because the soul needs, some souls need those earlier stages in the development of spirituality. But in other traditions, you find oh, those are pernicious ideas, let's demolish them, let's do away with them. They are not in agreement with what comes later. So they think about only the present conception, and that has largely remained static. So it's necessary if to see the entire spiritual evolutionary history of God. There is a book by Karen Armstrong, The History of God, Abrahamic Religions, and she sees the history has also molded the ideas about religion and God. So this is important, saying God has arranged all these forms to suit different people in different stages of knowledge. Then he gives a parable. Now, the gospel is replete with parables, and here Sri Ramakrishna is very liberal in explaining this. The mother cooks different dishes to suit the stomachs of her different children. Suppose she has 5 children. If there's fish to cook, she prepares various dishes from it: pilau, pickled fish, fried fish, and so on. Now, don't get your mouth watering. They're saying why? To suit their different taste and powers of digestion. 2 things they say: different taste and different powers of digestion. Sometimes the taste is good, but if your digestion is bad, gone. And if your taste might not be good, but your digestion is good, that's good enough. And Sri Ramakrishna will say, taste is up till here only. So he has given this ruchi, that is first is 2 things: taste and your powers of digestion. What you provisionally want first. You look at it, it smells good, there. And then you assimilate it according to your digestion. So that's the deeper part of the religious teachings. Yeah, we learn about so many things. We hear, oh Swami, you spoke so wonderfully. Yeah, that's the taste part. It tastes good. But what about your powers of digestion? That is another thing. So here he's saying, this is a parable. So God has provided different religious images and symbols and hymns and prayers and forms of worship suited for different people, according to race, according to clime, according to time. It has been there. And the world has never been without this religious instinct. I would not call it an instinct. It is an innate impulsion of a human mind towards religion. Either you are religious, or if you are an atheist, you read more about God and religion than a theist. Because they have to counter their own arguments and the arguments of others. So, you have atheistic philosophers, and nowadays, the social media, you get many. They are much more well-read than the guys who, I believe in God. Read it like them. So they are also, in a way, thinking of God. So this is clear. According to your different stages of mental growth, God has provided different supports for your own soul to reach Him. Then, that being said, then Sri Ramakrishna, do you understand me? And he has said his ego has been crushed and he is not going to argue anymore. Humbly. He was a humble, you can say, person. Yes, sir. Then he asks, how, sir, may we fix our mind on God? This is also a question. He is not asking now, is there a God? Now he understands that those existential, you can say, questions relating to the reality for him has been not valid now. Now he's saying, how do we fix our mind on God? People come to us and they'll ask us, Swami, what do you like to eat? What do you like to, where do you like to go? What do you like to dress? And you can, so we say, ask some questions like this. How do you fix your mind on God? But anyway, why do you ask me? It's already there in the book. There was one Swami, you know. So we used to go, and he was known to be very wise and very profound in philosophy and all these things, and a great spiritual soul. So we used to go and say, Swami, we want to discuss this, or I want to discuss this. What is the answer to this question? We used to go with hundreds of questions. So he used to dismiss us and say, it's all in the books. It's all in the books. Go read it correctly. Read it carefully. It's all in the books. So don't ask me, how do you fix your mind on God? See how it's there. So he gives two answers. One is the provisional answer or the tentative answer, and the second, the more deeper answer. So he says, repeat God's name and sing his glories. One. That is, do japa and sing his glories. You know, we have these bhajans and all these kirtans and listen to God's, those bhajans. They put you in a devotional mood. Keep holy company. There it is. Now many people say, they come and say, we want holy company. We say, better to keep holy company in your mind. Keep holy company, that is, keep holy thoughts, and that is keeping holy company. Or read holy books, that is. And now and then visit God's devotees and holy men. Yeah, this is also. Because there is a certain vibration in holy places and holy people. So the human mind can catch it. And then you will start, you know, a place also influences one's thoughts. It influences one's behavior. So a holy place will automatically put you into that kind of mood. So that's a utility in sacred places. Now, who makes these places sacred? People themselves go to that place to pray and worship, and that place slowly becomes holy. So wherever, you know, in the Narada's bhakti aphorisms, he says, Tirtham kurvanti tirthani. These pilgrimages are made by people, the pilgrims who go there and pray. This is known. So hundreds and hundreds or maybe thousands of years, people have been praying there and worshipping there and doing all these rituals and sacrificing and all. That place takes on, you can say, tangible atmosphere of holiness, and you catch it. That's why Swami Vivekananda also in his Raj Yoga said, if you have a separate room to meditate in, go in and meditate. Do not think any other thoughts in that room, but only thoughts of meditation and worship. Light lamps, incense, and keep that atmosphere holy. So whenever you go inside, that association with that place will play on your mind. This place is associated with holiness, and so your mind automatically gets oriented towards holiness. So this is it. So repeat God's name and sing his glories. Keep holy company, and now and then visit God's devotees and holy men. This is a provisional answer. Saying the mind cannot dwell on God if it immersed day and night in worldliness. Obviously. Now and then, in worldly duties and responsibilities. Now, this is the fact, when we've seen it. We have got hundreds of duties and hundreds of responsibilities. There are many people who don't do their duties and don't do their responsibilities. But I'm talking about people in general who are responsible, who do their work with dedication. They don't have to have a supervisor to keep an eye on them. They do it on their own, and that is building character. So it is most necessary to go into solitude now and then and think of God. So here he is saying, when the mind is immersed in worldliness and worldly duties and responsibilities, now and then take yourself off, go into a solitary place and sit down quietly. The mind will bubble and bubble and bubble for a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, and then it will settle. And when it's settling, then you will see yourself, what you have done and what you have not done. All the things that you... And if you have a little more time, then the mind will now start thinking about profound questions about one's own existence, one's own mind. So there's a great utility. When you go into a solitary place, switch off your phones and your internet, etc., and go there. Otherwise, Sri Ramakrishna has said, yeah, you can go to a solitary place and they are busy with televisions and YouTubes and internet and phones. And no. Certain things you got to take literally. You are just with yourself. That's the idea. Many people cannot stand that because they cannot face their own mind. Their own mind has become a kind of a monster that's trying to eat them. So they have been trying to divert it. So a couple of times into solitude, you will understand, this is what. I thought I was smart. No, I'm not so very smart, because you see what you have done. So it is reflecting on your thoughts and your actions, and it is a self-correcting time for yourself. To think about things that you did. Don't mope about your mistakes. That's not the idea. To gauge yourself and try to do better. So the provisional answer is saying this, repeat the names of God, etc., and then now and then go into solitude. And then he says, to fix the mind on God is very difficult in the beginning. This is what you are getting at. So when you go into solitude, don't try to meditate. People say, oh, let us go and meditate. Wait. If you're not used to meditation, that meditation will be a kind of another chaotic movie there inside going on. The whole universe going on in circles. Sit down quietly. Thoughts will come and go, and then they will settle down. And then you can fix your mind on God. And how do you fix your mind on God? That's the second part, is the meditation. So he says, that's a real answer. When a tree is young, it should be fenced all around. Otherwise, it may be destroyed by cattle. That's another illustration again. So he says, to fix the mind on God is very difficult in the beginning unless one practices meditation. Why? It's obvious. It is internalizing your own mind, your own ideas. Because when you're working, you're doing your duties and responsibilities, your mind and your own, we say a mind has gone out. It's not just your mind. You are the mind. You have just gone out and you get dissipated. So it goes to the senses. When we are engaged, you are engaged with all the hundreds of things. So it's very difficult at this stage to meditate on God. So that's the reason why. Go quietly, let it settle down. Don't go about looking at the scenery. If you go into solitude, oh, it's a beautiful sky and beautiful river. Wait, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to Go within and see now. Then it hits you. The first thing that hits you is, I am alone in this world. Yes. Many people don't like that. I am alone in this world. All the things that I've done either have been a little help or no help at all. So then he says, when a tree is young, as a sapling, it has to be fenced around. It is hedged so that it can grow. So your spiritual life will depend on how much time you spend with your own self. Now, he further explains this. To meditate, you should withdraw within yourself or retire to a secluded corner or to the forest. In the Bengalis, it is that original say, mone, bone, kone. So first is, to meditate, he's saying, you should withdraw within yourself. Get back inside. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the illustration is given like a tortoise that withdraws its limbs and puts it in its shell, so it cannot be pulled out easily. So similarly, you have to retract all your outgoing energies within and try to focus it on God. So withdraw within yourself or retire to a secluded corner of a house or wherever, secluded corner, or to the forest, which of course only in certain parts of the country now you have something called, in this country you have the advantage, you have plenty of beautiful forest here, you can go. Of course people go for hiking, they like adventurous hiking, but sit down quietly. If you go to a forest, I was telling some devotees some time back, you go to the forest and you come alive. You learn to listen to the forest, the sounds of that forest, the birds and trees, and yes, there's life there. Try to feel that universal life there in the forest, and you will feel at home. You will feel rejuvenated. There's an old, you can say, argument. We came out on the plains from the forest. We were actually forest dwellers. A primate, you can say, ancestors were forest dwellers, and then they kind of came down on the grasslands. So we go back and this is the home. To really go in the forest, don't listen to anything. You put on music and listen to songs and don't listen to it. Listen to your own self, your heart beating, your breath along in that forest, and you come alive. Look at how even the smallest life is struggling and living there. You will get a grand conception of your life. You will feel connected. What he's trying to say, you are getting connected with this world. You either get, like I said, retract your senses inside, go within you, sit down quietly in a corner without the television, of course, or computer. Quietly meditate there in your mind or in the corner of your house alone, or go to the forest. You've got to know your own strength. Why? Because people have been telling you, you are useless, you're weak, you're this, all the negative things. You should know your own strength. People don't really know their own strength. And like Swamiji says, there's infinite strength there within each one of us. We have to manifest it. We don't know the powers and the possibilities that are in the human soul. So Swamiji has said, and this is what Sri Ramakrishna is advising us to do. Then he gives another, you can say, dimension to this. Yeah, he asked a simple question, how do you fix your mind on God? Yeah, so many conditions. Then he says, after meditation, etc., and where you have to meditate is that. And you should always discriminate between the real and the unreal. Discern. This is it. You've got to constantly discern with what is real and what is unreal. Then he helps us. God alone is real, the eternal substance. All else is unreal. That is impermanent. Yes, the tremendous statement. And you will see that these teachings are elaborated in different ways throughout the book. So you have to discern between what is real and what is unreal. Then he says, God alone is real. Then he says, the only substance. We think matter has substance. Now we know matter has no substance. It is hollow inside. The atom is hollow and everything is hollow and everything. So where's the substance? And we put so much faith in this. We pinned all our hopes on this as solid. It is there, tangible. It will answer all your questions. It cannot even answer material questions. This matter that we thought was solid, he's saying God is the eternal substance. All else is unreal. It's like a mirage. Saying that is impermanent. It's here today, gone tomorrow. Hundreds of thoughts cross our minds and they go. This world appears the same. Really? No. There are changes. You can't detect those changes yet. But if you come after a few years and say, oh my God, so many things have changed. Yeah, that's the nature of this world. Then he's saying, by discriminating thus, one should shake off the impermanent objects from the mind. This is what happens. He's not saying you go and these chairs and tables are impermanent, go and break them. And people say, this is impermanent, there is no substance at all. Hold on to the real meaning of this. In your mind, God alone is real and all else is impermanent. The God alone is a substance. It's called a dravya. That is which is there, present, which is a substance. All else are just kind of changes. So meditation, discernment between what is real and the unreal, and we know how to fix the mind on God. This is the teaching thus. We will take his next question, how ought we live in this world? How ought we to live in this world? So that's another, you can say, great question, and Sri Ramakrishna's great answers. So to summarize, he has said, if the image, if you think that image is made of clay, if it is matter, which we don't assume, we can experience it. So we experience something that is if. This world is if. And Shankaracharya uses the word eva, as if. Like, how Sri Ramakrishna and all the scriptures and all, he's speaking the scriptures and he's understanding that the same truth has been declared over and over and over and by the sages. Shankaracharya uses it as if. Here he is saying, if this world is real, there. But we know, Sri Ramakrishna is saying, if the world is spirit, it is consciousness, it is God, This is the lesson. And how do you fix a mind on God? Yes. Go down within you, or in a solitary place, in solitude, or in a forest, and fix your mind on God. Chant names of God, and slowly, slowly, you'll come out of this world of, you can say, impermanence, and go down to the world of permanence. Om, peace, peace, peace. Time for the questions. If there are no questions, we can take questions here. What else? We already say, like I still remember that Swami. The question, it's all in the books. So we used to say, which book, Swami? You read. Yes.
So it seems like when you do a physical renunciation, let's say go to a forest, what's real and unreal kind of becomes very black and white, and it's maybe easier to discern between them. And oftentimes in the worldly world, like they sort of wrap the unreal around a kernel of truth to make it harder to tease them apart. Any suggestions?
Oh my. So the question is that it's easier when you go out to the forest or in a solitary place, you're alone, you can see them clearly. Maybe not in black and white, there are gray areas, but you more or less you can discern between what is real and what is unreal. But in this workaday world, it's very difficult because everything gets so mixed up. This is the work of Maya. The real appears unreal, and the unreal appears as real. This is the best answer what Maya is. The real appears as the unreal, and the unreal appears as the real. Now, he says to take the name of God, to repeat the name of God. So, when you are in the workaday world working, try to repeat a mantra consciously. And then as the repetition becomes subconscious, you may be engaged with your duties, but your subconscious mind revolves that idea around. And when the particular duty or particular attention that's required is not anymore required, then that subconscious, you can say, thought of God automatically pops in. Another way is, Holy Mother once was looking at a disciple who was doing proofreading. Udbodhan was a publication house. She looked at it. I heard this from a very senior Swami. So, and mother asked, "What are you doing, my child?" Saying very proudly, "I'm proofreading." And mother could somehow scribble with great difficulty her name. She could read, and her writing was so proofreading. And then, "Do you know how to do proofreading?" And he looks at her, "I'll teach you how to do proofreading." Now this is mother saying, before you start your work, remember God, look at his picture or something like that, and start your work. And if you get a break in the middle now and then, remember again God. And at the end of the work, once again remember God, look at his picture, whatever, and say, all that I have done is done, I have done it for you. So this is mother's advice. How you can tease both things away. It won't be done in a day, because so we are used to the old mind running in the old pathways. So it needs practice, and slowly you will be able to separate the two. You will know what's real and what is unreal. That is impermanent. So, and as the mind will keep on getting engaged with these thoughts of reality, it will start reflecting in your behavior also. When these thoughts come, duties will come, responsibilities, everything. Later on, he will speak about these duties. He's saying you've got to do all your duties, but keep your mind on guard. So he gives the example of a maid servant who is working in a house. She calls those children of the house owners, saying, my Hari, my Rama, but she knows her real children are in a home in the village there. So she knows she's doing all her duties, she's with all her love. My Rama, my Hari, my Hari is not listening to me and this and that. She'll scold him, she'll love him, this and that. But she knows these are not her real children. Her real children are there. So your question will be answered next Wednesday. Okay. Swamiji, are meditation sessions held on a regular basis in your presence with Q&A? We had a long, you can say, series of meditations, like approaching meditation, and we had unpacking yoga teachings and philosophy. So if you come here, I can teach you some techniques that will help you, and then you can ask some questions. Yeah. So somehow set you on the path. That's important. Okay? Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.